Hey up everyone, hope we're all doing well. Who is next for the Al Matador Ilia Topuria? Because thankfully we're in a position where we have plenty of options. It's not like we're in an unfortunate situation where the champion has no one to fight and he's running out of challenges. That's not the case. We have plenty of options who we can pick from. So I have picked out 5 opponents who could be next for Ilia Topuria and labeled some pros and some cons. And not only that, guys, I was rudely interrupted a few minutes ago because Dricus du Plessis just revealed some possible big news in the lightweight division, so let's get straight into it. Right, so here we have it. Before we get into all the other stuff, what we're meant to be on about, what the video was meant to be on about, this is very important, so I've got to include it. Dricus du Plessis has potentially just leaked the co-main of UFC 319 to be Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and he says it in this video here.
Wanna go?
Let's do it.
We're gonna go Miami and LA.
It's going to be a big card.
Might as well go to Chicago.
It's going to be a big card. The co-main event is Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
That's an
Ooh,
awesome fight.
that's gonna be a sick.
Now, if it's true, that is a banger. Again, I had to include this in the video because it's very on topic with what we're talking about. And I'd imagine the winner of Justin Gaethje and Paddy the Baddy would go on to fight Ilia Topuria. Whether that's actually going to be the case, who knows? I find it a bit maybe unrealistic that in 6 weeks' time that Justin and Paddy are going to be fighting. You know, we saw how big Paddy is. He's known for ballooning up outside of camp. So I do find it a bit crazy that he would be fighting in 6 weeks against Justin Gaethje. But there we go, Dricus du Plessis. That's what he says. He says the co-main is Paddy and Justin. So who knows? Let's see how it goes. But anyways, let's get straight into it. I'm going to show some fighters. I'm going to give the pros and cons of them fighting Ilia Topuria. And we're going to start off with Paddy Pimblett. The pros, a great build-up. A build-up between Ilia and Paddy. I mean, the seed has been set. Another pro is years in the making. That's what I mean. The seed has been set for this one. If you guys don't know, these guys were beefing on Twitter back in the day. Like, I think like 2020, when none of them, like, I don't even know if Paddy was with the UFC at this time. I can't remember. But these guys were beefing on Twitter years ago before either one of them were big. I mean, Paddy was quite big in the UK, but you know what I mean? So it's been years in the making. It'll be full circle if this actually came around. And then another pro of this one, a possible underdog story. Who actually thinks that Paddy's going to win this one? Genuinely, if Paddy was able to beat Ilia Topuria, be the first one to defeat Ilia Topuria, it'll be one of the best underdog stories. You have people like myself who said, mate, Paddy wouldn't even make it in the rankings. He wouldn't ever become a ranked fighter. And now he's a ranked fighter and on the verge of fighting for the title in the lightweight division. So I think that would be a great underdog story. The build-up would be absolutely insane. It'll be a very fun one. We've already seen moments of these two beefing each other, and they hadn't even had a fight set. So could you imagine when they have the fight set? The press conferences, everything, the social media posts, everything, it'll be absolutely unreal. But now, when we look at the cons, kind of undeserved. I mean, getting a title shot off of Michael Chandler in 2025, I think that's the definition of undeserved. You wouldn't really deserve it. And then again, what plays into the underdog story? Would it be competitive? I mean, I know Paddy and his fans are going to say yes, he has got a chance of winning, and he does have a chance of winning, but they're very slim chances in my opinion. I heavily favour Ilia Topuria, and I think if this fight was to be made, he would be a massive favourite, a bigger favourite than he was against Charles Oliveira. So that is another con of this one, but I would like to see it. It's just, does he deserve it? I'm not entirely sure. Next up, we have Justin Gaethje. A pro of this one is just one, it would be a fun fight. Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria, meet in the center of the octagon, some good boxing exchanges, probably guaranteed to have a finish, more than likely. I couldn't see this one going to the judges' scorecards. Would be absolutely fireworks, would be absolutely electric. Fucking one of the fight of the year candidates, potentially. The cons of this, similar to Paddy, undeserved. It's undeserved. You can't beat Rafael Fiziev on short notice, who's ranked like at the time was like 11th or something, who was coming off a 2-year hiatus and coming off two losses. You can't get a title shot off of that alone. I understand you took it on short notice. You deserve, you know, to maybe be compensated in your mindset, but you don't. You don't deserve a title shot just because of a win off a washed 0-2 Rafael Fiziev. It wouldn't make it a washed. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. He looked great in his last one. I didn't mean washed. I'm sorry. I'm a big Fiziev fan. Why did I say washed? I didn't mean it, but you get what I mean. He also needs more wins. If he was even to get another win, and again, if it ties into this one right here, if he gets a win over Paddy the Baddy, I can see him getting a title fight for that. I can completely understand the narrative then. But right now, he needs more wins. He's, what, 1-1? You can't lose to Max Holloway at UFC 300, then win against Fiziev, who's outside the top 10, and think you deserve a title shot. But again, would be a fun fight, but those are the pros and cons of Justin Gaethje. Next up, Arman Tsarukyan. The pros of this one: hardest fight for Ilia Topuria stylistically. I think it's a very interesting fight. It's a hard fight for him stylistically. He's very well rounded. He's got great grappling, got some decent stand-up. It's only decent. He's got some good cardio, and he is in his prime. He looked okay against Charles Oliveira as well, and he arguably deserves it. You know, he was on a winning streak, knocked out Dariush, got a big win over Charles Oliveira. I did rewatch that recently. I thought it was very comfortable for Arman Tsarukyan. The con of this, I don't think it would happen because he is in the UFC bad books. After what happened at UFC, I forgot the paper, it was at 311, you know, with pulling out and all this, that, and the other. And the fans have also turned against Arman Tsarukyan because of that. And not only that, I should have put this as a con as well, but I didn't. He hasn't got the same name value as someone like Paddy and Justin Gaethje. Now, as a fan, that doesn't bother me too much. But at the same time, money-wise for the UFC, that is a big game changer. Justin Gaethje is well established, well known. You think of Justin Gaethje, you think of banger fights. Paddy Pimblett, you think of all the hype and how much hype he's got right now and the fan base that he has right now. Arman Tsarukyan doesn't have any of that. You don't think of Arman Tsarukyan and think amazing fight. You don't think, the casual fan doesn't really think of Arman Tsarukyan. And that's when things start going bad for this fight. But I actually think this would be a fun one for me personally. I think it's a very interesting style. I think that Arman Tsarukyan is the hardest fight for Ilia Topuria at 155, in my opinion. But we move on. Now we get the last two. I don't see happening, but I wanted to include two more. Next one, Dustin Poirier. Now, how would this one play out? Oh, well, you know, he's got a retirement fight against Max Holloway. You are right. But there has been speculation. What happens if Dustin Poirier beat Max Holloway? A very good win at this point, because Holloway isn't completely washed. When we last saw him at lightweight only a year ago, he beat Justin Gaethje and did great against him. So if Dustin Poirier can beat Max Holloway in his last fight in the UFC, hey, you want a title shot? Do you want a title shot and possibly win the big one you could never win? Maybe Dustin Poirier says, yeah. The pros of this one, it's a fun fight, man. Just like Justin Gaethje, you meet in the middle, bang. It's a fucking banger. We all know this. Another pro what I should have included with Paddy and Justin, and like I just mentioned, he's also a big name. And you could also do the story of this. Can Dustin Poirier win the big one? He was never able to win. You got a story right there. Lovely stuff, and it's a fun fight. The con of this, it's similar to Justin Gaethje, undeserved and needs more wins. This guy is also what? Lost his last fight to Islam Makhachev in a title fight. You know, he would need more wins. So it wouldn't really make any sense. That's what lets us fight down a lot. It wouldn't make any sense. It would be a banger. Dustin Poirier is a big name. He's a fan favorite. It would look good on the resume of Ilia Topuria if he beat Dustin Poirier. It would look great on the resume of Dustin Poirier if he was able to beat Ilia Topuria and finally become champion. But it simply doesn't make sense. So I have to say, we're not doing this one. We can't do this one, even if he gets a win over Max Holloway. And last but not least, one we all wanted. There's no cons to it. Islam Makhachev, the pros, unreal fight, a great build-up, and it's the #1 pound-for-pound fight. You can't dispute any of it. The fight itself would deliver. It'll be a very interesting style of clash of styles. Not only that, the conference from both men is crazy. Islam's only lost once. Topuria's never lost. Unreal. You would have a load of photos saying combined record of Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, like those Facebook dad posts. The build to it would be crazy. These two aren't scared of talking shit. It will be brilliant. They've already talked a bit of shit subtly. Well, Ilia not so subtly. Islam doesn't really talk about it. Islam doesn't really talk about Ilia so much. And then, of course, whoever wins this would be, yeah, the #1 pound-for-pound in the rankings, without a shadow of a doubt. How could you deny it? And the winner of this would make a good case to end up becoming the GOAT as well, potentially. So, there's no cons to this fight whatsoever. But unfortunately, we're in a scenario where we're more than likely not going to get this fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, because Islam Makhachev, as we all know, has moved up to the 170 division. But hopefully, just hopefully, one day we could get this fight. It may mean that Islam Makhachev has to lose at welterweight, and it does take a lot of kick out of the fight, in my opinion. But as long as we get the fight, that's all I'm really bothered about. Even if a kick is taken out of it, a bit of hype's taken out of it, I don't care, because it would still deliver, in my opinion. And he could still fall back on. Well, I haven't lost at 155. I'm still that guy at 155. You know what I mean? So we could still build it up. But if I had to pick who's more than likely, I do think it's going to be Paddy the Baddy, even with all the pros and cons. And, you know, I think it's going to be Paddy the Baddy. We saw it with Ilia Topuria. I can't play it because UFC footage, so they'll fucking strike me for it. But Ilia did reveal in this like sort of podcast video, he did say he would like to fight Paddy next. I think he's trying to set up the Paddy fight quite obviously. He did say that he hates Paddy, so he'd love to fight Paddy because he's just fought Charles, who he didn't want to fight because he likes Charles. Paddy he doesn't like, so he has no problem with that, and he thinks he could beat Paddy anywhere. So I do think Paddy is going to be the fight that we see for Ilia Topuria next. If this isn't real, this isn't true, and it's bullshit, and maybe Drickus is just ill-informed, who knows? But Paddy, I think, is more than likely going to be next. I know people have been saying title eliminators. I don't think Ilia is going to sit out and be like, well, I want to fight. Who have you got for me? I'll wait for a title eliminator. I think Ilia wants to show out at the end of the year. Possibly MS. Well, no, you won't want a co-main because you want to do Islam and JDM there. But maybe October, who knows? I feel like Ilia will want one more this year. And if that is the case, and the UFC have to give someone to Ilia Topuria, I do think it will be Paddy the Baddy. If the title eliminators are out of the question, I think Paddy the Baddy will be next for Ilia Topuria. But who do you guys think would be next for Ilia Topuria? Who do you want to see next for Ilia Topuria? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.